Hey everyone, it's me again. I actually don't have time to film myself, so I wanted to make a quick podcast instead while I'm on the topic of health. And what I wanted to discuss in a separate post was about having asthma and allergies when I was a child and teenager. And it doesn't come up in conversation with people that had asthma, but usually they find out if they ask me like, "Do you want to smoke with me, or do you want to hold my cat or stuff like that?" I'll be like, "No, I can't do that." Um, but to be honest, I almost forgot that I ever had asthma. Since by the time I was 20, 21, I had mostly outgrown it, so I wasn't on an inhaler anymore. And so it wasn't as bad anymore. Maybe I just have some allergies still. Like I'm still allergic to animals. I can't have a pet cat or dog, for example. Their fur makes me sneeze. Or sometimes if I stay near a cat for too long. So I have to tell that to my friends who have a pet cat that I can't be with their cat for too long. And I'm allergic to certain foods as well. Like they would give me rashes or allergic reactions on my skin or something like that. And for example, I used to be allergic to chocolate and to strawberries, so I couldn't eat those kinds of foods. And I was on a very strict diet. I don't remember the kinds of foods that I couldn't eat back then, but I think mostly I couldn't eat like the best foods basically, which are sweet stuff. And um, oh, by the way, did I say what asthma is? Like, I think that most people know what asthma is. Like, it's a lung condition that causes, you know, breathing problems. Like, maybe you could suffocate to death, and it's actually a lot more life-threatening than what I have now, which is a benign tumor on my pituitary gland. Because, like, my current condition will not cause death, but with asthma, if they mismanage you, you can actually suffocate to death, so it was life threatening. And back then, it impacted my life greatly, and there I was had a very strict diet. I was very restricted about what I could do, and apart from not being able to have a pet cat or dog and not being able to eat certain foods, I also and being on a strict diet, I also was not able to do sports and exercises growing up. So I was excused from physical education classes, and a lot of kids in my class will actually be jealous of me because, I was just like the only one that wasn't doing physical education classes just because I had asthma. But the truth is that when you have asthma, you cannot cover the normative um, that these teachers require you. Because as an asthmatic, you're slower. You could get an asthma attack while you're doing these exercises, and it's just a bit more difficult. It's not impossible, but it's just more difficult. And to be honest, we didn't really want to play with my health with my family, so we're just like, no, I'm excused from physical education classes. And um, and actually, like growing up, I actually always wanted to have like a fit and athletic body. I actually glorified that more than having a skinny body. But since I couldn't do workouts, I was had a very untrained body, and I was trying to stay thin, but it was like not fit or not athletic or anything like that. Um, and what else? So another thing, like there's some asthmatics that do smoke cigarettes or weed despite having asthma. That's their choice. But for me personally, my parents were always very anti-smoking, so I grew up being raised with that. And I can't smoke cigarettes, so I wasn't one of the cool and bad bitches that were smoking cigarettes in the school breaks. like I was just like I've always been a non-smoker, so mostly because of my health, and I did not really want to experiment, to be honest. Um, Other things that I wanted to say, like I was also allergic to dust, and sometimes if a room or a house is too dusty, I might start sneezing, and that's like an allergic reaction itself. Like I might get a runny nose, or I might get, um, you know, shortness of breath or stuff like that. I used to get asthma attacks up until I was ninth grade, and I remember that I was hospitalized a few times as a child. and an ambulance came to save me, and they would inject me with something that would um, help stop the asthma attack, and they would put an oxygen mask on my face as well. And I remember it sucked. I remember I missed like a lot of classes from school just because I had asthma. And you know how kids are, they might get jealous of you for that. And I couldn't run as well. Sometimes I see these people posting these running marathons on social media, how they went there, and I'm just like, oh my god, that reminds me so much of when I had asthma and I couldn't run with my friends. Like, I was running with them, but I was a lot slower and I couldn't reach them, and they'll be making fun of me for not being able to run as fast as them. I'm just like, look, that's not funny. But I remember just like, really wishing I could be a runner or something like that, just because I couldn't run very well. I couldn't run very fast, so you'd never see me in the running marathon either, that's for sure. And what else? I remember I had a sinus infection when I was in high school, which is close to the pituitary gland, and I thought that was like a very weird coincidence, since now I have a pituitary tumor. But I also had allergic rhinitis, which is basically the same, like you have like these allergic sneezing problems, like allergic runny nose and stuff like that. So I'll be on these like, these nose drops, like you put these drops in your nose so that they would relieve your runny nose or sneezing. And another medication I remember that I was on was called Singulair. I was on it for asthma relief, but I actually had to stop using it because it has very strong side effects as well. Mostly could mess up your mental health apparently. So I had to stop that eventually. But I was using that medication in high school mostly. Before that, I was always on an inhaler. Every morning and evening, I would have to spray the inhaler into my mouth to help me breathe more easily. And apart from that, what else did I want to say? Like, how I as I said, I couldn't have a pet cat or dog growing up. Like, there's like certain cat breeds that I can have who don't have that kind of saliva. I think it's actually the saliva, not the fur of the cat, that is like irritating me. So, for example, I can have like the Sphinx breed or the Siberian breed, or I think those are the breeds that I can have. But to be honest, I do not really want to have a pet cat anyway. Like, I'm just used to living without pets. Like, I remember we did used to have like 2 goldfishes as pets, and that wasn't bad either. We had an aquarium, but I remember I overfed them as a child and they died. And since then, we haven't tried to get a new pet. But I can't even touch these animals. Like, I can't even touch them. Like, because like I see all my friends, they have like pet cats and stuff and dogs. I'm just like, oh my god, guys, I'm allergic to them. I can't be with your cat or dog for too long. And it's a bummer actually, because like I like animals. I do like animals. I think they're cute and fluffy and stuff, but I just can't be with them for too long. I think I remember I was once at my friend's flat party, and the cat was in the room for too long, like for 2 hours, and his fur would start falling on the floor. And I remember after an hour, perhaps I would start sneezing a bit from it, so I might still have some allergic reactions to cats and dogs. It's not a huge loss really, but just saying that a lot of people don't really know that about me, that I can't have a pet cat or dog or anything that's like fluffy and has like a lot of fur. What else? Since I couldn't do workouts and sports growing up, well, I was relying mostly on dieting to stay in shape. Since when you can't work out, you could gain weight. I think that I'm not the only one who had asthma and has these kinds of like weight problems. But actually, like a lot of the COVID symptoms resemble asthma and pneumonia, which is something that I already went through. So nothing surprising there for me personally. So I guess I do have some kind of experience with it already. But I thought that was quite interesting, like how coronavirus resembles asthma and pneumonia a bit. Like symptoms are similar. And what else? I used to get asthma attacks, but by the time I was 9th grade, that's like the last time I had an asthma attack. And after that I just had like allergic reactions to food, to dust, to uh, sometimes I'll get a runny nose, I'll be sneezing a lot, and then they put me on Singulair. Then I stopped Singulair by the time I was 18, and I wanted to study abroad because one of the reasons was that if you change the climate, maybe the air will be cleaner there. And I really need to go to a cold country, to be honest. That's why, because I thought that the air wouldn't be so like evaporated from the sea, since I live by the sea and it's hot where I'm from. And the other thing is, they do recommend, I think, changing the climate or the town or stuff like that. So definitely felt like doing that after high school. And but by the time I was like 19, 20, I had mostly outgrown asthma, and I didn't have such bad asthma anymore, the same way that it was in my childhood and teenage years. So I could do a lot more in my 20s. I wasn't on an inhaler anymore by the time I became a student, and I had stopped using Singulair. But it's really disappointing to me that once I became an adult, now I have like a pituitary tumor. I'm almost recovered from it, by the way. It's not that bad, but I remember feeling so bummed and disappointed that I jumped from one chronic illness into another. But that's why for you, like I think that when you have asthma, you are like more likely to get other chronic illnesses like this. So it's not surprising really. I do know that I have a weaker immune system, and I need to be careful with my health. That's what I mean. I'm not one of the people that doesn't have to worry about these things. So yeah, I hope this was interesting to you guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.